Okay, long story short, or a quick way to say this, there's some more perspective here with what's going on with the mental health. I was attending Axia, which is Western International University, which is owned by the University of Phoenix. And I was being treated at the Spartanburg area mental health per the directions of my probation officer, which was at the time a YOA parole officer, Susan Crocker. And she was well aware of my ADHD. I stated to her, the difficulties of dealing with that, and and also so at the mental health, they knew I was attending college. They started out. The first doctor was a female doctor. She tried to use Depakote or something, claiming bipolar, blah blah. Well, that's garbage. And these people just want to run through a gamut of medicines and blah blah, and eventually get you fed up, and then you turn away, and they don't have to deal with you anymore because it's a public clinic and all. Well, so this time when I went the first time, whoever it was that I spoke with, the guy kept trying to provoke me. I mean, he just endlessly with this comment about, well, you don't make your appointments. Well, the appointments are 3 months apart, and a person with ADHD who's not organized, and they never suggested, really the calendar and how to, get organized, which I had a laptop with, there's plenty of software out there. And the doctor that was treating me, Dr. Winter, and the counselor, Deborah Foster, never bothered, nor the ADHD, the ADA compliance officers at the college, Western International University, which I'm going to end up paying at least $60,000, if not probably, up to $80,000 for this student loans and things. All of these people knew that I was dealing with ADHD. I've been diagnosed since I was a child. The medication helped me immensely while I was in school. I was able to stay focused on the material and stay quiet and not be distracted by the things in the classroom or the spontaneity of whatever the lesson may have been in the class participation and all this, which the school itself is geared. It's just funnel money back from the GI Bill into the Department of Defense, Treasury, blah blah, so their economics, But then, while I was going to college, nobody bothered to mention to me, hey, there's this organization called CHAD. You can get support, even if you have to go to Greenville, which is the Help for ADHD. It's in the National Resource Center on ADHD. Obviously, I've mentioned this before, where I contacted them. And also so there are these books. There's 2 books: Succeeding in College for ADHD people, and Succeeding in the Workplace for ADHD people. And those are not the exact titles, or they've retitled the books or something since then, but that's how they're listed on the CHAD website, or those are the documents in the CHAD directory where you can download and read some information about how to manage medication and all this. And these appointments with the doctor ended up, okay, so I'm disorganized and I missed the appointment. I would go back the week after. I'd realize, oh, I missed the appointment. Well, then I would go in and they would see me for 10 or 15 minutes if they had to renew the prescription or whatever. And the caseworkers, they're overloaded, all this. But the thing about it is, this affects people's family. You go back to the domestic violence counseling that I had to attend. I'm sitting there taking notes, and you got the other guys that are in there, and they're just like, okay, well, I'm going to sit here for this half hour or hour, however long this class lasts, and then I'm going to go home and live however I feel like living. And I was sitting there taking notes, trying to learn from this stuff. And, the first time I went through the domestic violence counseling, I brought the instructional stuff home, the notebooks and the handout leaflets and things that they gave so that the family could discuss how to communicate and things like this. And my grandmother looked over some of it, and she starts using those exact things to attack me. So the whole premise is absurd. When nobody's seeing the real picture of these. Sure, they're old, or they've been stressed through their alcoholic son, and their other sons, he was a workaholic and all this, and maybe had some gambling and ended up with the stock market and no money and all this. Anyway, and disabled, and all this, and my grandfather was disabled, so, and still is, and all these things. But the thing is like, here I am saying, okay, well, with the ability to teleconference over the internet, you don't even have to go to a place and meet with people and risk a car wreck or some, anything out in the community or anything, and you can discuss these things or make videos about how, communities can be reorganized around, security surveillance and harnessing the power of all of the goods that are purchased, and community investment groups for purchasing the groceries and things like this. And, people are just sort of, they get tangled up in things, and then they're oblivious. But the thing about it is it's every time I turn around, I'm being thrown in prison, which with the YOA, they let you out for 10 months. It's a youth program that you do 10 months, which is, it's garbage, because they don't let you learn anything. The little gang members that have come from Charleston and Columbia and things like that, they intimidate the young guys and all this, and they say, well, I'll just do my 10 months and go home. But the thing is, it would be so simple for the families, when they can send a book in that can be really beneficial, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families, or instead of paying these counselors that just sit in their office or just blah 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 with a bunch of garbage that the guys don't understand, say, as opposed to a book, how talking to your kids, how to get through to children, talking to your kids, how to get through to children, and all this, that or toxic parents, and in some cases, or alcohol and addiction books and things. And these different texts that could be so beneficial, how to, employment search strategies and things. Some of these books are new, and this and that, but there's nothing going into the, and then leave it in the prison after the guys leave for the other guys that come behind them to read, and then maybe you end up with a few guys that don't have to go back because they were just struggling with a few odd things, and they get themselves organized, and books on how to organize yourself and whatnot. And none of this was happening. The mental health clinic didn't really, they were just like, oh, here's this guy, he's going to college, and we're treating him for a learning disability, ADHD, but we're not going to bother to tell him, oh, well, you might want to check on some books and things that you can learn more about your condition and how to handle. Obviously, the doctor knows there's problems, and the counselors know that there's problems with organization skills and the ability to follow through with things, and the frustration of not finishing things and not being able to communicate with people well after, especially in the family where relationships have been so strained by not a willful behavior of an inability to do these things that are just basic, clean your room or clean your car, or don't drive in a hurry when you've made yourself late by forgetting to organize your shower or your clothes, wash your clothes. Oh, well, I forgot, or whatever. I got distracted by a video game or something, and showing how to use your time wisely and things. And none of this happened for me. I didn't have the internet, all this, but it's here now, and it can be used for so much good. Any idiot could just take a few pieces of text and really put things together and have a community organization just bloom out of, the fact that there's the difference to communicate online is the difference between, not having a telephone and having one, or not being able to communicate telepathically, or not being able to communicate telepathically and communicate over distances and say, this is what's happening and this is what we'll do, and da-da-da-da-da. I'll get back with you guys soon. I'm still struggling with this. Whistleblower, I'm probably going to get hounded and thrown back in prison. Like I say, they framed me, said I attacked a guard or something when I was just trying to exit the cell, not the building, the cell, when my roommate was beating me up. So if I do go back for this, contributing to the delinquency, giving this girl that was already a trouble to her parents, and I was just I had no friends. I said, well, this person might be my friend.